Welcome to Life Epistles. We bring to you today the final presentation on death, what happens before, during, and after. What we are going to talk about now is rebirth of spirit in matter as a human being. And by the end of the presentation, we would have achieved a very important objective, and that is to put on this channel and on YouTube a presentation that is so long, that is so detailed, talking about the life cycle. That is how spirit descends into matter as we are currently and go back into the spiritual world in the effort to become like God, to be able to create living things. If you can find any other presentation that is so detailed as we are, that is so long as we are, spanning over 7 hours on the subject matter, please alert us and we shall reward you. What are the questions we are going to answer today? Question number 1. How does the spirit or the dead come back into the physical world? 2. What are the processes? 3. Is it always the case that we should come back into physical embodiment? 4. What will happen if we do not come back? That is to say, what will happen if we remain in the spiritual world? 5. Why don't we remember that we were here before? And 6. Why don't we remember the choices we made in the spiritual realm before physical embodiment? Stay with us as we provide you with the answers. Once again, we wish to advise that some expressions may touch your sensibilities. Please bear with us. What is the source of our information for this long lecture? It remains to be the Western wisdom teachings. And my name is Seddoh Bokor. Let us begin with a summary of the previous lecture, lecture number 19, which is the part 4 of the main topic. When the spirit is thoroughly purged in purgatory, the purified spirit rises into the first heaven. First heaven is located in the 3 highest regions of the desire world, where the results of the sufferings that the spirit went through are incorporated in the seed atom of the desire body, to give that desire body of the dead the quality of right feeling. When the dead person comes to scenes where he or she helped others, he or she realizes anew all the joy of helping at that time, and in addition, feels all the gratitude poured out by the recipient of the help. When the dead comes to scenes where he or she was helped by others, he or she once again feels all the gratitude that was then felt towards the benefactor. Our happiness in heaven depends upon the joy we gave others on earth and the valuation we place upon what others did for us. The first heaven is a place of joy without a single drop of bitterness. The spirit is beyond the influence of the material and earthly conditions and assimilates all the good contained in the past life as it lives it over again. Here, all ennobling pursuits to which the dead aspired whilst living on earth I realize in fullest measure. There is no sickness, there is no sorrow, there is no pain. All gain in the first heaven the satisfaction which earth life lacked for them. And there is one class there who lead a particularly beautiful life, the children. The first heaven is also a place of progression for all who have been studious, artistic, or altruistic. Let us take note that the physical world is the world of form. The desire world, where we find purgatory and the first heaven, is particularly the world of color. The world of thought, where the second and the third heavens are located, is the sphere of tone. When virtue and conscience have been sufficiently strengthened, then and only then does the dead leave the desire body to disintegrate, as happened to the dense body and the vital body. The dead takes with him or her only the forces of the seed atom, and the forces of the seed atom we say is like living information or a template, and that seed atom forms the nucleus of future desire body, just like the other bodies. Finally, the ego, the spirit, enters the second heaven, clad in the sheath of mind, which contains the three seed atoms, the extract of the three discarded vehicles, namely dense body, vital body, and desire body. The second heaven is in the region of concrete thought. Over there, the extract from the three bodies are built into the spirit. As much of the desire body as the individual had worked upon during life, by purifying his or her desires and emotions, will be welded into the human spirit. As much of the vital body as the life spirit had worked upon, transformed, spiritualized, will be amalgamated with the life spirit to ensure a better vital body and temperament in the next life of the individual. As much of the dense body as the divine spirit has saved by right action will be worked into and will bring better environment and opportunities in the future. The second heaven is the real home of the spirit or the ego, the thinker. Here, the dead dwells for centuries, assimilating the fruit of the last earth life and preparing the earthly conditions which will be best suited for the next step in progress, the environment for a new physical existence. Therefore, all the denizens of the heaven world work upon the models of the earth, all of which are in the region of concrete thought. They alter the physical features of the earth planet and bring about the gradual changes which varies the appearance of the earth planet, so that on each return to physical life, a different environment has been prepared, wherein new experiences may be gained. Work in the heavenly world is not confined solely to the alteration of the surface of the earth. The dead also is actively engaged in learning how to build a body, which shall afford a better means of expression when it comes back into physical embodiment. It is humanity's destiny to become a creative intelligence, and we are serving our apprenticeship here on earth every time. During heaven life, teachers from the higher creative hierarchies teach the dead how to build body. It is a law of nature that no one can inhabit a more efficient body than he or she is capable of building. The dead person first learns to build a certain grade of body and afterwards learns to live in it. In that way, he or she discovers its defects and is taught how to remedy them. At last, the individual spirit, without any vehicles, without any of its bodies, ascends into the higher region of the world of thought, the region of abstract thought, which is the third heaven. Here, by the harmony of this higher world, the spirit is strengthened for its next dip into matter. After a time comes the desire for new experience and the contemplation of a new birth. This conjures up a series of pictures before the vision of the spirit, a panorama of the new life in store for it. But why should the spirit come back into physical embodiment, what we call rebirth? First, let us understand that the purpose of life is not about happiness, but experience. Experience must be gained, but we have the choice whether we gain it by the hard path of personal experience or by observation of other people's acts, reasoning and reflecting the wrong, guided by the light of our own past experience. The choice is ours, but so long as we have not learned all there is to learn in this world, we must come back to it. We cannot stay in the higher worlds and learn there until we have mastered the lessons of earth life. Humanity, in general, is in school of experience. We must return many times before we can hope to master all the knowledge in the material world. Every human being is created and destined to become a creator and also add value to the Godhead. For now, we are using dense matter to mold things based on our thoughts, desires, and will. With time, humanity will work directly using atoms and ethers. So it is important that we experience rebirth. But it is wrong, very, very wrong, to shirk responsibility now, hoping for a future time to do it. That is absurd. We need to do what we have to do now. This is the main lecture. In the third heaven, the threefold spirit, or the dead person, has only the forces of the four seed atoms. And the four seed atoms are that of the dense body, that of the vital body, that of the desire body, and that of the mind. We have said that when the spirit gets to the third heaven, it goes there without any of its vehicles. It is there with only the seed atom. The seed atoms, they serve as nuclei for the building of new bodies. In the third heaven, there comes a time when the spirit desires to come back into physical embodiment, and that is known as rebirth. On this channel, we do not use the word reincarnation. We use the word rebirth because there is a difference between rebirth and reincarnation. When the spirit decides to experience rebirth, it descends from the third heaven all the way to the physical world. And this is how it goes. The spirit descends, and the forces of the mind that are latent in the seed atom are the first to be awakened. So when the spirit begins to descend from third heaven, coming through to the second, the forces in the seed atom are awakened. The seed atom begins to attract to itself materials from the highest subdivision of the region of concrete thought, in a manner similar to that in which a magnet draws to itself iron filings. If we hold a magnet over a mixture of brass, silver, gold, iron, and lead, we shall find that the magnet selects only iron filings. Even so, it will not take more than its strength can lift. Its attractive power is of a certain kind and limited to a certain quantity only. It is the same way the seed atom also behaves. The same is true of the seed atom. In each region, as it comes down, it can take nothing except the material for which it has an affinity, an identity, a material that is identical to it. And two, nothing beyond a certain definite quantity. So, the vehicle built around this nucleus becomes an exact counterpart of the corresponding vehicle of the previous embodiment, minus the evil which has been expunged, plus the extract of good which has been incorporated in the seed atom. That is what it takes. As the vehicles, as the bodies of the spirit sink into lower worlds and regions or subdivisions of the worlds, they become heavier and can take or attract only that which their capacity allow, or only the proper quota of matter. They cannot take anything beyond that. That is to say, the spirit cannot take what it did not work for in previous life. And for even what it has worked for, it can take only a certain amount that its capacity allows. That which its capacity can contain, that is only that it can take of even what it has worked for in previous life. So, in the world of thought, the spirit moves downwards from the region of abstract thought, which is the third heaven, through the four subdivisions of the region of concrete thought. On completion, the shift of a new mind becomes complete. That is how a new mind is built. Let us look at this illustration that explains it. To the right, you can see the arrow pointing downwards. That is the ego or the spirit descending in the world of thought. You can see that the whole journey begins in the region of abstract thought, where the spirit, colored in yellow arrow, descends. It picks materials from four regions, that of archetypal forces, which is the mind. Then it picks that of the archetype of desires and emotions. It picks that of archetype of universal vitality. And it also picks that of archetype of forms, all being in the region of concrete thought. So the spirit descends from the region of abstract thought through the mind and then the three subdivisions. So in the world of thought, the spirit picks the four materials that are aligned to the four subdivisions in the region of concrete thought. Next, the spirit or the ego descends into the desire world. That is to say, after the spirit has picked materials in the region of concrete thought, it completes building a new mind. It then moves to the next lower world, which is the desire world. Now, the forces in the seed atom of the desire body are awakened. In the desire world, the forces in the seed atom that corresponds to the desire body, are awakened because a new desire body is to be built. Now, the materials of the seventh region of the desire world are drawn, and the body sinks to the sixth region, getting more material there. And this process continues through the fifth, the fourth, the third, until the spirit gets to the first region of the desire world. That is how the materials are picked in descending order. And once again, we bring to you the illustration. You can see written in white in that box, spirit or ego descending and taking materials from the various regions of the desire world. It starts from the seventh region to the sixth region, descending all the way to the first region. So it means the spirit has completed taking materials in the world of thought and the world of desire, the desire world. If you imagine this downward movement of the spirit as a bell, By now, two major layers are formed by the two worlds that the spirit has descended through. The shift of mind, which is outside of the bell, and the new desire body, which is inside of the bell. And we bring to you the illustration. You can see the spirit descending in the three worlds, but we have spoken about two. In the world of thought, you can see that the spirit has picked materials over there, and the materials picked are outside of that body. They are not inside of the body, and that is the mind. It is outside. And when the spirit descends to the desire world, it's also picked materials from the desired body. It is the same thing as it goes through to the physical world. So the three principal worlds have been shown. We ever said that for now, the evolution of humanity is in three major worlds: the world of thought, the desire world, and the physical world. So we are showing how the spirit descends and picks materials from each of these worlds. Next is the physical world. After the spirit has completed taking materials from the desire world, the next world in which it descends is the physical world. When the spirit or the ego descends into the etheric region, the seed atom of the vital body is activated. We ever said that the physical world comprises the etheric region and the chemical region. When the spirit is descending, it goes through the etheric region first, and there it picks the seed atom of the vital body, and that is activated. But there is a difference. The process of forming a body in the etheric region is not so simple as compared to that of the mind and the desire body. The mind and the desire body, they are comparatively unorganized, while the vital body and the dense body, they are more organized and very complicated. The material of a given quantity and quality is attracted in the same manner and under the operation of the same law as in the case of the higher bodies, talking about the mind and the desire body. The way that is picked, a certain quantity that is identical to the previous seed atom, that is the same. There is no change. But other things are not the same. But, and this is where there is a difference. One, building the new body and placement of that body in the proper environment on earth is not done by the spirit. Rather, four great beings of immeasurable wisdom, and they are called recording angels or lords of destiny. They are the ones in charge of where the spirit should go on earth, which environment, who should be the parents. That is not just decided upon by the spirit, but the laws of destiny are in charge. And these laws of destiny, they have millions, billions of agents who work with them. They impress the laws of destiny, or the recording angels. They impress the reflecting ether of the vital body in such a way that the pictures of the coming life are reflected in the reflecting ether. That is what they do. So the record of what the spirit is coming to do on earth is in the reflecting ether. The vital body is built by the inhabitants of the heaven world, and the elemental spirits, they are the ones in building the vital body, and that is done in the heavenly world. And they build it in such a manner as to form a particular type of brain. So the brain of each person, more or less, has qualities that are different from the brain of others. Even though we call all brain, there are differences in terms of the quality. But the ego, The spirit that is coming back to rebirth also incorporates therein the extract of its former vital body and also does some original work. So it is not just about the recording angels and their agents doing everything. A certain amount of work is also done by the spirit that is coming to rebirth. And that amount of work that is done depends on what it has done in its previous life in respect of the vital body. It is important to remember that this is done, allowing the spirit to also do some work. That is done so that there may be some room for original and individual expression in the coming life. Life is not totally predetermined by past action. Often, many people think that all that there is a result of something that existed previously. But if that were the case, then there will be no margin left for new and original effort and for new causes. So what there is now and what there will be in the future is not 100% determined by what happened in the past. The chain of cause and effect is not a monotonous repetition. There is an influx of new and original causes all the time. This is the real backbone of evolution, the only thing that gives it meaning, and that is called epigenesis, the free will that consists of the freedom to inaugurate something entirely new. So there is room for us to initiate something that is entirely new. This is the important factor, which alone can explain the system to which we belong in a satisfactory manner. Involution and evolution in themselves are insufficient. But when epigenesis is added, we have a full tide of explanation about life and the purpose of life. You may refer to our lecture number 4, The Pilgrimage of Spirits Through Matter, for details. An individual's destiny cannot be all worked out in one lifetime or in one place. The ego or the spirit is therefore brought into a certain environment and family with which it can and it always relates in some way. We are not born by chance. Anybody who thinks that we are born by chance may not have it right. We are never born by chance. There is always a past connection, especially our immediate family. There has always been a past connection. Once an ego or a spirit is so placed, once you are born into a particular environment, the agents of the laws of destiny, the recording angels, they watch over our every movement. But we don't see them because we haven't developed our spiritual perception yet. And when they watch over us, they make sure that no act of free will, as we have been given, can be exercised, will be exercised, shall be exercised to frustrate the work. No, that is not permissible. To use your free will to frustrate the working out of the portion of the fate that was selected by us in the heavenly world, they don't support that. And that fate, which they don't support for a change to happen, is what is called fixed destiny. That cannot be changed, unlike others. Yes, there are other choices that we have made in the heavenly world, they can be changed. But that of fixed destiny, it can never be changed. So, with the other choices, we have the flexibility to change them by prayer, by fasting, or other means. But when it comes to fixed destiny, the agents of the recording angels, they make sure that that is never tampered with. We cannot change them. If the individual tries to use his or her free will to circumvent that part, the agents of the laws of destiny will make a move so as to enforce fulfillment of the fixed destiny. They will never allow you to change that. With regard to our past, we are to a great extent helpless, but we have control over current or future action to the extent that we are limited only by our past actions. By and by, as we learn that we are the cause of our own sorrow or joy, we shall order our lives more in harmony with the laws of God and rise above the laws of the physical world. The best is to abide by the laws of God, not just the laws of the physical world. And abiding by the laws of God is the key to spiritual emancipation. So, the vital body, having been molded by the laws of destiny, will give form to the dense body, organ for organ, molecule for molecule. This matrix, the matrix of the vital body, or the mold of the vital body, is placed in the womb of the future mother. The seed atom for the dense body is in the triangular head of one of the spermatozoa in the semen of the father. This makes fertilization possible. It's the father that carries that seed atom. It becomes plain when we understand that as the molecules of water freeze along the lines of force in the water and manifest as ice crystals, so there can be no dense body built until there is a vital body first. And it is that vital body which shapes and builds, which provides the material for this dense body. Also, there must be a seed atom for the dense body to act as a gauge of the quality and quantity of the matter which is to be built into that dense body. Although at the present stage of development of humanity, there is never full harmony in the materials of the body, because that will mean perfect body, and we are not yet perfect. So there is some shortfalls. Yet, the discord must not be so great as to disrupt the organism. Heredity is true only as regards the material of the dense body, but not the soul qualities. Heredity has nothing to do with the soul qualities, because the soul qualities are entirely individual. It has nothing to do with the parents. The incoming spirit or ego does a certain amount of work on its dense body, incorporating in it the extras of its past physical qualities. Nobody is an exact mixture of the qualities of its parents, although the ego or the spirit is restricted to the use of the materials taken from the bodies of the father and the mother. A musician, for example, comes into rebirth where he or she can get the material to build the slender hand and the delicate ear, among others. The arrangement of these materials, the materials that the spirit, the ego, has taken from the parents, how they are arranged is under the control of the spirit, the ego. It is like a carpenter who is given a pile of boards to use in building a house in which to live, but is left to his own judgment as to the kind of house he wishes to build. Except in the case of a very highly developed being, this work of the ego is almost negligible at the present stage of humanity's evolution. So, while the ego is given some room to build its own materials, it is only a very advanced spirit, ego, that is able to do that so well. Most of humanity, we are unable to do it perfectly. But it is a process. We are improving upon it time by time. The greatest scope is given in the building of the desired body. All of us, humanity, when we are coming down, the greatest scope is given in the building of our desire bodies. Very little scope is given in that of the vital body, and almost none in the dense body. Yet, even this little is sufficient to make each individual an expression of his or her own spirit and different from the parents and other people. That is why we have our own individual qualities and characteristics. When the impregnation of the ovum has taken place, the desire body of the mother works upon it for a period of from 18 to 21 days. That is when impregnation takes place. It's the desire body of the mother that works on it. Those days are very important. So the mother should channel her desires and emotions properly. The ego remains outside in its desire body and mind shift, yet always in close touch with the mother. We're talking about the preparedness of the spirit to enter into the body. So when there is impregnation between 18 to 21 days, the descending spirit or ego is around the pregnant mother. Once the period is over, the 18 to 21 days that we have talked about, once that period is over, the spirit or the ego enters the mother's body. The vehicles, the bodies, as already imagined to be bell-shaped, draw themselves down over the head of the vital body, and the bell closes at the bottom. It means the spirit is locked. It has to remain in the mother's body. It is locked. Once the bell-shaped form is closed. From this time, the ego or the spirit broods over its vehicle, its body, until the birth of the child, and the new earth life of the spirit commences. The spirit has now taken physical embodiment. That is how it happens. Let's talk about birth of the dense body. All vehicles, all bodies of the newborn do not at once become active. The dense body, for example, is helpless for a long time after birth. It is the same with the higher vehicles. It is not only this physical body that is born. There are other bodies as well. When the physical body comes out of the mother, and we see that there are other bodies too, but for a time, all the bodies more or less are helpless. So, as the dense body is slowly prepared for the separate individual life within the protective cover of the womb, so the other bodies are gradually born and nurtured into activity. So all the bodies do not begin work at the same time. The physical body, the dense body in the womb, takes some months for it to ripen and ready for birth. It is the same thing with the other bodies as well. They all do not mature at the same time. There is a connection between the microcosm and the macrocosm, the individual and the world. That is to say, the bodies of the individual and the bodies of the planet Earth. We are born here on this planet Earth, not on Venus or Mercury or wherever. It is this planet, and we are covered by the bodies of this planet, not only the physical body, but the spiritual bodies of this planet as well. In the period immediately following birth, the different vehicles interpenetrate one another. So right from the beginning, all the bodies that the spirit is using interpenetrate one another. Although they are all present, as in adult life, they are merely present in the newly born as none of their positive faculties are active. When the child is born, when we were born those days, even though the physical and the spiritual bodies are there, they do not immediately function. They interpenetrate one another. And being merely present shows that none of the positive poles of those bodies is active. It is only the negative poles that are active. The vital body cannot use the forces which operate along the positive poles of the ethers. Assimilation, which works along the positive pole of the chemical ether, is very profuse during childhood due to the macrocosmic vital body. The Earth planet's vital body takes care of the newly born. That is why the functioning itself is not directly by the newly born, but as a result of the vital body of the Earth planet. So the ethers of the vital body of this Earth planet, they act as a womb for the child's vital body until the 7th year, when it ripens. It ripens in the 7th year. The propagative faculty, which works along the positive pole of the life ether, is also latent. It is there. The life ether is there, but it is latent. The heating of the body, which is carried on along the positive pole of the light ether, and the circulation of the blood are due to the macrocosmic vital body, the vital body of the Earth planet. The ethers acting on the child and slowly developing the positive pole to the point where, that is to say, the positive pole to the point where it can control the functions by itself, no more the negative one of the Earth planet. The negative one of the Earth planet is only to help the positive pole mature, to take over the functioning of those ethers of the child. The forces working along the negative pole of the ethers are so much the more active in the child, but they are under the control of the macrocosmic planetary vital body, which works through the negative pole. That is what we have been saying all along, that when a child is born, the Earth bodies, this Earth planet's body, takes care of the child. As the child's own bodies grow, not only the physical body, but the spiritual bodies as well. The ethers, that is what we are talking about. The excretion of solids carried on along the negative pole of the chemical ether is unrestrained, because it is that of the Earth planet that is doing it for the child. The excretion of fluid, which is carried on along the negative pole of the life ether, is also unrestrained, because it's the Earth planet one that is doing it. The passive sense perception, which is due to the negative forces of the light ether, is also very prominent. The child is very impressionable and is all eyes and ears. Children have certain qualities that are so amazing, but often it is the contribution of that of the Earth planet. The forces operating along the negative pole of the reflecting ether are also extremely active. Children can see the higher worlds, and they often talk about what they see until they are stopped or rebuked or punished by their elders. It's all because they are in sync with the planetary ethers. That is why they are able to see the spiritual worlds and talk about them. During those earlier years, the spiritual perception of children is of the same negative character as that of a medium. It is the same with the forces working in the desire body. The passive feeling of physical pain is present for children, while the feeling of emotion is almost entirely absent in children. The child will, of course, show emotion on the slightest provocation, but the duration of that emotion is momentary. They don't keep that emotion for so long. It is all on the surface for children, unlike adults. The child also has the link of mind, but is almost incapable of individual thought activity. It is exceedingly sensitive to forces working along the negative pole and is therefore imitative and teachable, because it's the earth spiritual bodies that is nurturing that of children. That is why children are so imitative and teachable. So it is shown that all the negative pole qualities of the eaters are active in the newborn child. That is the fact. The negative pole of a newborn child is more active. But before he or she is able to use those vehicles independently, the positive pole qualities must be ripened. They must mature. The fact is that we are required to be individuals, exercising all our bodies. But when we are born, the bodies of the earth planet takes care of us, nurturing all those bodies until the right time when each one of them is born. Let us look at the birth of the vital body. We said that the vital body is the second body that holds the physical body in place. Each vehicle, each body is therefore brought to a certain degree of maturation by the activity of the corresponding vehicle of the macrocosm, which acts as a womb for that body until that period is reached. From the first to the 7th year, the vital body grows and slowly matures within the womb of the macrocosmic vital body. And because of the greater wisdom of this vehicle, that of the earth planet, the child's body is more rounded and well built than in later life. While the macrocosmic vital body guides the growth of the child's body, it is guarded from the dangers which later threaten it when the unwise individual vital body takes unchecked charge. This happens in the 7th year, when the period of excessive, dangerous growth begins and continues through the next 7 years. Between 7 years to 14 years onwards, the child experiences a tremendous growth. All of us experience it because the individual vital body has been born, especially after 7 years. During this time, during the process of maturation of the vital body, the macrocosmic desire body, which is the third body, the desire body is the third body of every human being. During that period, the desire body performs the function of a womb for the individual desire body. So the desire body of the earth planet gradually nurtures the individual desire body to the point where it can now mature and ripen. Were the vital body to have continuous and restrained sway in the human kingdom, if we should have left only the growth of our body to the vital body, we will grow like plants. We will be of enormous size, as we were in the past, when we had only the dense body and the vital body. Humanity was like giants because we had only 2 of those vehicles. But the desire body steps in and stops further growth. Let us look at the birth of the desire body. The vital body of the plant builds leaf after leaf, carrying the stem higher and higher. Were it not for the macrocosmic desire body, it will keep on in that way indefinitely. But the earth's desire body steps in at a certain point and checks further growth. That is for the plants. It is the same thing for human beings too. The force that is not needed for further growth is then available for other purposes and is used to build the flower and the seed. In like manner, the human vital body, when the dense body comes at its way after the 7th year, makes the dense body to grow very rapidly. But about the 14th year, the individual desire body is born from the womb of the earth's desire body and is free to now work on the dense body. Just as the vital body was born on the 7th year, the same happens to the desire body. It is born on the 14th year. The excessive growth is then checked, and the force used for that purpose of growth becomes available for propagation to give birth. Therefore, the birth of the personal desire body marks the period of puberty. From this period, the attraction towards the opposite sex is felt, being especially active and unrestrained in the 3rd septenary period of life, from the 14th to the 21st year, because the restraining mind is then still unborn, so the desire is hardly checked. The mind that is to check the desire hardly comes in. So teenagers in that period have a lot of energy in terms of attraction to the opposite sex. Let us look at the birth of the mind. After the 14th year, the personal mind is brooded over and nurtured by the macrocosmic mind, the mind of the Earth planet, unfolding its latent possibilities and making it capable of original thought by 21 years. Overall, the individual's 4 material bodies have matured such that the person can use them all. Therefore, at the 21st year, the ego, the spirit, comes into possession of its complete vehicles. By the 21st year, all the 4 bodies that the spirit will use have matured. And how does the spirit, the ego, control its bodies? It does this by means of the blood heat, the heat that we all have in our blood, and by developing individual blood. For instance, parental influence through the thyroid gland is eliminated. That is the fact. The development of the individual blood and the blood heat is done in connection with the full development of the light ether. By that time, the light ether too has matured. Our bodies grow, develop in accordance with the maturation of the ethers, and the ethers come one after the other. Let us then look at the maturation of the ethers. We said that we have 4 bodies. The physical body, as we say, is not the only one. There is the vital body. And the vital body comprises 4 ethers. That is what we are going to talk about. How these ethers also grow. The chemical ether is born first and matures by the 7th year. That is the positive pole of the vital body for assimilation and growth. Initially, we mentioned that when a child is born, all of its vehicles are taken care of by the physical and the spiritual bodies of the Earth planet. We are now looking at how the ethers come about, how they grow. And we're saying that when the Earth planet takes care of the various bodies of the child, the Earth planet does so using the negative pole. But for the child, for the person to become an individual and manage himself or herself, the positive side of the ethers should be developed. So this presentation is talking about how the positive side of the ethers are developed. At the 14th year, the life ether, which is the second ether, the life ether which has to do with propagation, is fully ripe. In the period from 7 to 14 years, the excessive assimilation has stored up an amount of force which goes to the sex organs and is ready at that time that the desired body is set free. So by the time the desired body is set free, matures, the life eater is also ready. This force of sex is stored in the blood during the third of the 7-year periods. In that time, the light eater, which is the avenue for blood heat, is developed and controls the heart, so that on the average, the body is neither too hot nor too cold. So you can see that it is the eaters that are really working for us to be who we are. It is only when the blood is at or near the normal temperature that the ego, the spirit, can use it as a vehicle of consciousness. So if the blood is too cold or too hot, the danger is that the spirit, the ego, cannot use it as a means of consciousness. Without the warm blood, no spirit, no ego can find expression in the material world. That is why we all have the warm blood, because of the light eater. But the proper heat for the real expression of the spirit is not present until the mind is born from the macrocosmic concrete mind, and when the individual is 21 years onwards. Then the fourth eater, the reflecting eater for memory, also matures to birth. So you can see the corresponding birth of the various eaters. They are all not born at the same time. They are born at 7-year intervals. You may refer to our lecture number 2, the various bodies of a human being, for details. But once the mind is born, the individual is ready to live an independent life, having free will, and to be held accountable for his or her actions and even inactions. Why don't we remember that we have been here before, or the choices we made in the heavenly world? Why do we forget them? It depends on your level of spirituality, because some people do remember their past lives. Because the more permanent records of all that has happened are stored. And they are stored in the world of thought and in the life spirit. So if you have a perfect connection with the world of thought or the life spirit, you can remember all that. Similarly, the pictures of the coming life are in the reflecting ether, because the reflecting ether is connected to the mind, the world of thought. So, if you can even read in the reflecting ether, you can see what you are here to do on earth. The records are there. Take note that a new mind is built when we are born. When we are reborn, we come with a new mind, not the same old mind. Of course, we cannot even remember how we started to crawl. The divine plan is that the future or the past should not be revealed to the unprepared person, the person who has not matured spiritually. That is why when we are born, we all go through the water of forgetfulness. And that water of forgetfulness is the amniotic fluid. In Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, it is said to the prophet by the Lord, "Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou comest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations." All of us made a choice in the spiritual world before we took physical embodiment on earth. Our records, our choices are already there. Let us summarize what we have said so far. In the third heaven, the threefold spirit or the dead has only the forces of the four seed atoms of the dense body, the vital body, the desire body, and the shift of mind. They are the nuclei for the building of new vehicles or bodies. In the third heaven, there comes a time when the spirit desires to come back to rebirth. In coming down, the first thing is that the latent forces in the seed atom of the mind are awakened. A new mind is built. The seed atom can take in each region nothing except the material for which it has an identity, and also nothing beyond a certain quantity of that material. So, the vehicle built around this nucleus becomes an exact counterpart of the corresponding vehicle of the previous embodiment, minus the evil which has been expurgated, plus the extract or quintessence of good which has been incorporated in the seed atom. The spirit cannot take what it did not work for in previous life. So, in the world of thought, the spirit moves downwards from the region of abstract thought through the four subdivisions of the region of concrete thought. Next, the forces in the seed atom of the desire body are awakened. The materials of the seven regions of the desire world are drawn, and the vehicle or the body sinks to the sixth region, getting more material there, and this process continues through the sixth, the fifth, the fourth, the third, the second, until the first region of the desire world is reached. By now, the spirit or the ego has descended through the world of thought and the desire world. Then next is for the spirit to descend to the physical world, starting with the etheric region. The seed atom of the vital body is next activated in the etheric region. Here, the process of formation is not so simple as in the case of the mind and the desire body. The building of the new body and the placement in proper environment is done by four great beings of immeasurable wisdom called the recording angels or the laws of destiny. But the spirit or the ego who is coming to rebirth incorporates therein the extract, the quintessence of its former vital body, and also does a little original work. Many people conclude that all that exists now is the result of something that previously existed. It is not so. If that were the case, there will be no margin left for new and original effort and for new causes. The chain of cause and effect is not a monotonous repetition. There is an influx of new and original causes all the time. That is the real backbone of evolution. And that backbone we call epigenesis, the free will and the freedom to inaugurate something entirely new. Fixed destiny cannot be changed, unlike others, which the individual has flexibility to change by prayer, fasting, and other means. If the individual tries to use his or her free will to circumvent fixed destiny, the agents of the laws of destiny will make a move so as to enforce fulfillment of that fixed destiny. So, the vital body, having been molded by the laws of destiny, will give form to the dense body, organ for organ, molecule for molecule. So, no dense body can be built until there is a vital body in which to build the materials for the dense body. This matrix or this mold of the vital body is placed in the womb of the future mother. The seed atom for the dense body is in the triangular head of one of the spermatozoa in the semen of the father to make fertilization possible. When the impregnation of the ovum has taken place, the desire body of the mother works upon it for a period between 18 to 21 days. The spirit, the ego, at that time remains outside in its desire body and mind, but in close touch with the mother. By the 21 days, the spirit enters the mother's body. From this time, the spirit or ego broods over its vehicle to birth as a baby and its new earth life in a new physical body begins. All vehicles or bodies of the newborn do not at once become active. The dense body, for example, is helpless for a very long time after birth. It is the same with the higher bodies. As the dense body is slowly prepared for the separate individual life within the protecting cover of the womb, so the other bodies are gradually born and nurtured into activity. In the period immediately following birth, the different vehicles interpenetrate one another. Only the negative pole qualities of the ethers are active in the newborn baby. But before it is able to use its different vehicles, the positive pole qualities must ripen, they must mature. The ethers of the macrocosmic vital body, the vital body of the earth planet, they act as a womb for the child's vital body until the 7th year, gradually ripening it during that period. The heating of the blood, which is carried on along the positive pole of the light ether, and the circulation of the blood are due to the macrocosmic vital body, the ethers acting on the child and slowly developing it to the point where it can control these functions itself. From the 1st to the 7th year, the vital body grows and slowly matures within the womb of the macrocosmic vital body. In the 14th year, the individual desire body is born from the womb of the earth's desire body and is free to now work on the dense body. After the 14th year, the personal mind is brooded over and nurtured by the macrocosmic mind, unfolding its latent possibilities and making it capable of original thought at 21 years. Overall, the individual's 4 material bodies have matured such that the person can use them. Therefore, at the 21st year, the ego, the spirit, comes into possession of its complete bodies. The chemical ether is born first and matures by the 7th year. We're talking about the positive pole of the vital body for assimilation and growth. At the 14th year, the life ether, which has to do with propagation, is fully ripe. By the 3rd of the 7-year periods, that's by 21 years, the light ether, which is the avenue for blood heat, is also born. The reflected ether for memory matures to birth at 21 years onwards. Once the mind is born, the individual is ready to live an independent life, having free will, and can be held accountable. In conclusion, we look at the following diagram that summarizes our topic on death, what happens before, during, and after. Kindly pay attention as we explain by this diagram. To the left-hand side, where the black coloring begins, and we find over there death. When that happens, the dead person views the panorama of past life in the ethers, in the etheric region. After that, it moves to the next, where the essence of pain builds into the soul as right feeling. That comes as a result of suffering that has been purged. And that happens in purgatory. And the integration happens in the first heaven. After the first heaven, the dead moves to the next, which is the second heaven. And what happens is that good in past life is built into the mind as right thought. Also, work on a new environment is carried out in the second heaven. After the second heaven, the dead moves to the third heaven. By that time, it has dropped all the 4 vehicles. And in the third heaven, the mind essence of right thought and soul essence of right feeling are built into the spirit as basis for future right actions. The ego, the spirit, stays in the third heaven for some years. Then the desire for experience and soul growth draws the spirit, the ego, to rebirth. And we can see the white arrow coming down from the world of abstract thought, or the region of abstract thought. It moves from the third heaven to the second heaven, where it gathers material for a new mind. From the world of thought, it descends into the desire world, where it gathers materials for a new body. From the desire world, it moves to the physical world, and there we have a new vital body and also birth of the dense body. Then the spirit has taken physical embodiment. We have the birth of the vital body, which allows for growth. Then, by the 14th year, we have the birth of the desired body, the puberty area. And then, by the 21 years, we have the birth of mind. So you can see, by 21 years to 48 years, we have the beginning of serious life, especially from 21 years. By the time the person gets to the 42nd year, we have the prime of life, or the second growth. And then, by 48 years, we have a change of life. One day we are going to explain all what we mean by this. And then, by 48 years, we are in the prime of mentality. By 70 years onwards, death comes. But we are not saying necessarily you need to be 70 years before that. But that is the scheme as arranged. It could come before. It will come after the 70 years. This is a general presentation of the life cycle, how the spirit descends into matter and goes back into the spiritual world. This is the life cycle. Let us have this alert. And this is very, very important for us on this platform. Regarding this presentation, we need to be very clear on this issue. Thus, we call it red alert. Rebirth, going and coming of the spirit in and out of the dense body, is not everlasting. It is not a forever and ever thing. As we ever said, there will come a time when nobody can go and come no more. It won't happen. The door will be shut. And the end of our current stage in the spiral movement of evolution will be transited. The goats will surely be separated from the sheep. The earth will be transformed into its etheric body, and those who cannot function in the vital body will perish. Only those who can function consciously in their vital body will levitate, can levitate, and meet the Lord Christ on his final return and be with him. May we all strive to love and offer selfless service, by which only can we build the spiritual body. It is only love and selfless service that can build the vital body. And it is that vital body which humanity will use consciously when our Lord Christ comes back. And about the transformation of the body, we read from 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 35 to 58. But some man will say, how are the dead raised up? And with what body do they come? Thou fool, that which thou sowest is not quickened, except it die. And that which thou sowest not that body that shall be, but bare grain. It may chance of wheat, or of some other grain. But God giveth it a body, as it has pleased him, and to every seed his own body. All flesh is not the same flesh, but there is one kind of flesh of men, another flesh of beasts, another of fishes, and another of birds. There are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, but the glory of the celestial is one, and the glory of the terrestrial is another. There is one glory of the sun, and another glory of the moon, and another glory of the stars. For one star differeth from another star in glory. So also is the resurrection of the dead. It is sown in corruption, it is raised in incorruption. It is sown in dishonor, it is raised in glory. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening spirit. Howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual. The first man is of the earth, earthy. The second man is the Lord from heaven. As is the earthy, such are they also that are earthy. And as is the heavenly, such are they also that are heavenly. And as we have borne the image of the earthy, we shall also bear the image of the heavenly. Now this I say, brethren, that flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God, neither does corruption inherit incorruption. Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. And when this corruptible shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, death is swallowed up in victory. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. But thanks be to God, which giveth us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Friends, we thank you very much for listening to this rather long presentation, a very long lecture on death. We hope this episode, just like the other ones, has added some knowledge to what you already have. Knowledge about what happens before, during, and after death. If you have any suggestions, kindly post them into our comments section. For our next lecture, we are going to talk about, can humanity move on without religion, spiritualism, and spirituality? We thank you very much.
Filling up every space, no privacy. And silently, it can build and build until you finally see. Whoa, it's taking over, damn no closure, moving closer. No exposure, I just wanna be a loner. Some can't stay sober, looking over all this.